る髪の少しとよみて差し曇り雨も降らんか君をとどめ
Hello, it's Leo. Today I am in Shinjuku. I am headed to Shinjuku-gyoen National Park to talk about a film from Makoto Shinkai. This film was released in 2013 by Comics Wave Film Studio, and it is what I consider the last of the pre-Kimi no Na wa Shinkai film. I am talking of course of The Garden of Words. Before the anime behemoth that was Kimi no Na wa, Makoto Shinkai was known for his romantically intimate stories. They were introspective and often portrayed characters struggling from being separated. Think Sayuri from The Place Promised in her early days being trapped in a parallel universe. Or Takake in 5 centimeters per second, unable to bring himself to contact Akari. The Garden of Words is a story of loneliness experienced by two individuals who meet each other during rainy mornings. One is a high school boy aspiring to be a shoemaker, the other a working class woman who spends her days drinking at Shinjuku Park. Before we are introduced to our characters, the film starts with this. It is a scene of branches slightly swaying in the wind as it dips gently in and out of the water. It serves as an establishing shot and sets the mood of the film. The whole scene is awash with shades of green with far and few raindrops all around. However, this very unassuming scene is the essence of The Garden of Words. The whole story conveyed by some branches touching some water. As the film progresses, this scene transforms from an establishing shot to one of portrayal of loneliness and sadness. Before we get into all of that, we have to set the scene. At the start of the rainy season, high school student Tako skips morning period by passing time at Shinjuku Park. On a small shelter that we will get to see in a while, he comes across an office lady drinking beer and eating chocolate by herself. Thinking that they may have met before, Tako sparks up a conversation, but immediately takes it back as she says no. In a gentle voice, she recites a poem as she takes her leave. We fade into the title screen and that's how the film begins. Now the poem she told him is the poem at the start of the video. It is what's called a tanka. A tanka is a short poem consisting of 5 lines in a 5-7-5-7-7 syllabication, which is different from my haiku's 5-7-5. This particular tanka is poem number 2513 of the volume 11 of the Maiyonshu collection. Now the Maiyonshu is a collection of Japanese classical poems. The words Maiyonshu is written with the characters for 10,000, leaves, and collection, a collection of 10,000 poems. However, the first characters can also be read as Koto no Ha, or leaves of speech, and this reflects the Japanese title of the film, Koto no Ha no Niwa, The Garden of Words. As for the poem, it essentially translates to faint thunderclap, clouded skies, perhaps rain comes. If so, will you stay? The mysterious woman reciting this poem is Yukari Yukino, a high school teacher at Takao School. Yukino conveyed multiple meanings with this poem. 1. She is a classical literature teacher. 2. She is hinting at her current emotional state. And 3. It's an open invitation that should rain come, he should be here with her as well. We'll get to know more about Yukino, her profession, and her present circumstances later on. For now, Takao, unable to decipher the poem in its entirety, goes back to Shinjuku Park on the next rainy morning. Once again, Yukino is there and she is pleasantly surprised Takao has returned. Every morning that rained since then, Takao meets this mysterious woman. Slowly, the two begin a bond. Takao reveals to her his dreams of becoming a shoemaker, a secret he has never told anyone before. He knows not who she is, not even in name, and yet he is charmed by her presence. In his eyes, she can see the secrets of the world, secrets not privy to a 15-year-old boy like him. Perhaps by conversing with her, he could glean some insight into the adult world and be free from his childish self. And so, every night, he prays for rain to come. In an interview with February, art director Hiroshi Takiguchi expressed how the rain in the Garden of Words is the main character in the story. He and Makoto Shinkai worked together again in the 2019 film Weathering with You. In it, the rain was very rough, obstructing, and seemingly possessed by the will of the gods. Unlike that later work, the rain in the Garden of Words were an abstract expression, sometimes calm, sometimes forceful. They insisted on using cell animation instead of CGI to impart emotion in every raindrop. According to director Takiguchi, the Manyoshu describes rain as something that connects people, and sometimes it creates distance. The purpose of rain in the Garden of Words is to bring these two people together. Under this small shelter in Shinjuku Park, the rain provides them sanctuary. Takao is insecure of his artisan dreams. His family are the only ones aware of his hobby and they seem to think it's just a phase. There's also his skills in shoemaking, or lack thereof. He has no enthusiasm in attending school because he already knows what to do in life. The only person that seems to take him seriously is Yukino, and the rain is the only convenient excuse to see her. Takao, bound by the fact that he's only a high schooler, occupies himself with this craft, too consumed by the need to grow up. He looks up to Yukino with admiration as she seems to have figured out how the world works. Unbeknownst to Takao, the world of adults can be a miserable, lonely place. Yukari Yukino is suffering from a stress-induced loss of sense of taste. So the story goes is one of her students had a crush on her, which made their girlfriend jealous. Yukino was bullied relentlessly by the jealous student and her cohorts to the point that Yukino is unable to go to work. Yukino's boyfriend, fellow teacher Ito Sensei, even refused to get the police involved in fear of bringing shame to the school. Yukino's plights were downplayed as she was forced to endure her ordeal on her own. In her apartment, clothes are strewn all over the floor. Cans of beers and stacks of chocolates surround her. She acts like a refined adult in front of Takao, but this is her reality. Alone in her apartment, she laments how she is full of lies. Director Takiguchi states that Yukari Yukino could exist somewhere. That is, there are people right now who share the same struggle as her, paralyzed with anxiety, unable to move forward, and in dire need of relief. She tells to herself, at 27 years old, that she is no more wiser than she was at Takao's age. I was 18 when I first saw this film, and I thought surely that's not true. Surely at 27, people would have grown more mature. I'm 27 now, and now I know I was just being naive. The world gets lonelier as you grow. Friends go their separate ways. Everyone carries their own burden. It's astonishing to see how many adults are just barely holding on. When I first saw this film, I related to Takao's romanticization of the adult world. Now I much understand Yukino's reluctance to even be one. Takao has been a crutch for her as much as Yukino is to him. Lately, Yukino's taste buds have improved. She's starting to cook for herself again and seemed to enjoy things more than beer and chocolate. One rainy morning, Yukino gives him an expensive book on shoemaking. In return, Takao reveals he is in the middle of conceptualizing a pair of women's shoes. Clearly, they are for her. As the soft rain falls around them, Takao measures her feet, gently and quietly. She confesses how she found herself unable to walk, about work and everything else. That would be the last day of the rainy season. A signature theme in Shinkai films are the distances imposed upon our main characters. Your Name had the time mumbo jumbo. Other films include separation by parallel dimensions, even life and death. However, The Garden of Words is more grounded as the distance is imposed by society's eyes. Takao is young, and no matter how mature or capable he may be, he is yet to become an adult himself. In a collectivist society like Japan, someone like Yukino wouldn't associate herself with a high school student. Their distance is bridged only by the grace of rain. As the rainy days are now gone, so are their meetings. Takao wants to see Yukino but feels like it's childish to only want and not to do anything about it. He instead focuses on getting into a vocational school. Making shoes is the only way he knows how to become an adult after all. As for Yukino, she continues to pass the time at Shinjuku Park. She wishes for the rainy days to return. Without the comfort of Takao's presence, she regresses back to consuming only beer and chocolate. She is alone once again, but this time, maybe even more so. In the making of this film, Makoto Shinkai sets out to portray love as it was in the Edo period. The word for love, ai, is a modern term connotating a deep, romantic feeling. It is synonymous with the word koi. However, koi, written as such, historically had a different meaning. Nowadays, the word koi is translated as love, specifically deep, romantic love. Ski also means love, but it's more lighthearted and commonly means liking something or someone. However, traditional koi, written like this, is comprised of two radicals, ko meaning alone and hi meaning sadness or grief. Together, koi is translated as lonely sadness. It is defined as the sadness one feels when not in the presence of a certain person. Another archaic kanji for koi is this, meaning to yearn for someone. Back in the Edo period, love was seen as irrational and a threat to social hierarchy. The writer Ihara Saikaku tells stories of those who love someone from lower social classes, or brave women who pursue love that defies social norms. Their love can never be realized lest they be put to death. Love was often depicted as criminal or fatal, and so love in old Japan was a quiet affair. Even today, Japan regards affection and intimacy rude in public settings. It is set apart from the Western norm that intimacy is a core component of romantic love. In a Western sense, as Jankowiak and Fisher would put it, it is an intense attraction that involves the idealization of the other within an erotic context with the expectation of enduring for some time into the future. Contemporary ideas of romantic love emphasizes the attraction to one another, that true love endures and conquers all. However, the concept of koi has no grand gestures of love. Koi is emotion by omission. Yearning for someone is koi. It is only in their absence that we feel the grief of loneliness. Togetherness means peace. Separation is despair. September comes and the school year resumes. Takao is walking down the school hall with his friends when he walks by a familiar face. It is then that he finds out who Yukino is and the harassment that made her stop coming to work. Takao then confronts the upperclassman that harassed Yukino and gets himself beaten up pretty badly. The following morning is another bright sunny day. Takao makes his way to Shinjuku Park. Despite the lack of rain, he knows she'll be there. Visibly bruised, he approaches Yukino and recites a tanka. It's the tanka that answers the first one Yukino recited to him. It goes, faint thunderclap, clouded skies, rain come not, I will stay here, with you. He recites the poem the same way she did, without prelude and no expectation of a reply. Without hesitation, the rain falls upon them once more. The two rush back to the shelter. They sat there in the cold and wet. A slow piano starts to play as we are treated back to Yukino's apartment. The previous shot of Yukino fumbling to crack an egg replaced by more skillful hands. Takao cooks them lunch as Yukino presses their wet clothes on the iron. After the long summer, they wanted nothing more than having to talk to each other again. Whilst the gentle rain falls all over Tokyo, they think to themselves that this might be the happiest moment of their lives. Maybe this is the embodiment of what Saikaku once wrote. That despite the perils of love, there are those who went on to love quietly. Takao confesses that he might have fallen for Yukino. She is taken aback but rightfully shoots him down, reminding him of their social standing. Yukino thanks him for being with her, but she will be moving away soon. Distraught, Takao takes his leave quietly, leaving Yukino alone once more. As Yukino cries by herself, she is reminded of the times she had with Takao. His voice plays in her head, replaying his tanka, that whether it rains or not, he will be there for her. We are shown not the scene when Takao recites the poem, but branches swaying above the water, the same scene from the beginning of the film, followed by a close-up shot of rain pitter-pattering on the ground. There is no subject in these scenes. It's as if we're made to look at nothing in particular at all. That's because the focus of this scene is the camera. It's the point of view of someone yearning for someone, lost in their grief, sad, and alone. It's the feeling of koi, visualized. Upon realizing this, Yukino rushes down to the stairs to meet Takao. He proceeds to berate her how unfair and uncommunicative she was. He has shared his deepest insecurities of being a shoemaker, and yet she always remained reserved and pretended to be unaffected by the world. Takao tells her that her lies is what kept her alone all this time. Yukino, welling up in tears at this point, rushes down to embrace him and finally admitting how broken she was. Those rainy mornings underneath the shelter is what saved her. As they cry in each other's arms, the sky begins to clear. The rain has done its duty. We close the movie to Motohiro Hata singing a rendition of the 1980s song Rain as the credits roll. The epilogue shows Takao walking back to the shelter during winter. He has finished Yukino's shoes and offers it at the shelter. He has decided to dedicate himself to his craft until such time that he could walk on his own. It'll be a long and lonesome while until he sees Yukino again. However, Director Shinkai has made it a point that loneliness is not something you fix. Loneliness and yearning go hand in hand. The more we are alone, the more we yearn. Perhaps that makes the eventual reconnection all the more worthwhile. For now, his feelings are kept quiet, just like those who loved in the olden days. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. This film is quite special to me, and I watched it every day non-stop for a month back in uni. And now that I've grown, I have an even deeper appreciation for it, especially Yukino's portrayal of a defeated adult. Let me know down below if there's any other anime-related media you want me to analyze next. I recently concluded another Oregairo pilgrimage, so watch out for that. Anyway, this has been Leo. See you on the next one.